Welcome back to Immigrant Diaries, the show where we sit down with people who have packed their dreams in a suitcase to build something extraordinary on the other side of the world. Today, I'm personally delighted to have here with me a journalist, broadcaster, a storyteller, and honestly a force. Welcome, Renu Mehta.
Thank you very much, Rohini. I'm so honored to be part of your show. Thank you very much for having me.
So, Renu, you came to Canada with a history honors degree from Delhi University. What was the plan? And how quickly did that plan change once you landed in Canada?
Honestly, there was no plan. We just got our immigration and we landed in May 1995 with 3 children, all under the age of 10, with a lot of hope, excitement to settle in a new country. And we thought that our qualifications and our vast experience would let us integrate into the workforce very quickly, and we would get settled in a new country. Moving to a new country is the second most stressful thing in life, second only to the death of a loved one. There are two big roadblocks that came in at that time in front of us. One was Canadian experience. Employers were asking for Canadian experience, which we didn't have. And the second biggest roadblock that we encountered was that our qualifications, credentials were not recognized, on the basis of which we were given immigration to Canada. They were not recognized on a provincial level.
Oh.
But eventually, of course, we did make it. We struggled. I even did jobs at $7 per hour. I used to do as an extra on film sets, out of which $1 was taken by the agent. So we went through a lot of turmoil before we actually made it.
So the media world is tough for anybody to make it. And for an immigrant, the barriers are even higher. So at what point did you think, I'm actually going to make it here?
I found that it was very important to study in this country. So I joined a 2-year program at Seneca College in broadcast journalism. I was the oldest student in the class, couldn't relate to the others because they were all 18 years old or 20 years old. So when I picked television, I had a few people come and tell me, you're not going to be able to make it because they take young blondes. So that was the moment, a turning point where I said, I'm going to make it.
So you went from Rogers Cable Research to CP24 traffic reports and then to as a host in Omni Television. It doesn't sound like a straight line. This sounds like a hustle. So, how did you make it happen?
Well, Rohini, during my 2-year program at Seneca College, I decided to volunteer. Rogers Cable, we used to cover the North York Mayor's council meetings, and they are lengthy, they're boring. I did everything from laying the cables to carrying the video camera on my shoulder, the heavy video cams on my shoulder, timekeeping. At the time, the mayor was Mel Lassman. So the extensive volunteering I did at Rogers Cable paid off. In 1998, they were going to amalgamate the 6 cities into Toronto, like East York, York, North York, Etobicoke, Scarborough, were all being amalgamated into Toronto. So I got my own show where I wrote about what the voting procedures would be for that, and what the healthcare would be like, what transportation would be like. Would there be one fare for all these? And it was very challenging. And then at the same time, I was also volunteering with Omni Television. Eventually, they gave me to host and produce 26 episodes of a science show. And I also did 12 Greatest Journeys. I did 13 episodes of that. I reported for South Asian Newsweek. I partly produced and hosted the Hindi show. So I did a lot of reporting for Omni Television. They do traffic at City Bus.
So all these hustles really paid off eventually. Yes. Actually, you are integrating into the main part of this media.
Yeah, when I was at Seneca, I also did another thing. I interviewed a lot of senior people, media people, I would go and do interviews for a college radio,
Mm-hmm.
and thereby making contacts with all the media people. So my job at Chums, which owned City TV, CP24, also came about like that, because when I graduated, they hired me to be their intern, and very quickly a job opportunity came up, and I got a full-time job with them to do, and I did live traffic reports for CP24 and reporting for the Chum radio station.
Oh, that's amazing.
That was very exciting, actually.
You sat across from the Canadian Prime Minister. You covered the G20 summit. You walked the TIFF red carpet. And you were the voice for the South Asian community in the Globe and Mail. Which of these things felt the most you?
Going with the Canadian Prime Minister to India as part of his delegation was certainly the top of my list. Meeting the Indian Prime Minister, it was certainly an eye-opener. That was certainly on the top of my list. But what has been very exciting for me is that I've been covering the Toronto International Film Festival, sometimes as a journalist and sometimes as a publicist. Seeing them walk on the red carpet, interviewing them. I have personally promoted Rani Mukherjee, Priyanka Chopra for their films that came to TIFF. And I've also promoted the small cinema. I remember a film that was about to be released that was not part of TIFF, but they wanted it promoted at TIFF. So we chose a venue and called the media. So certainly sitting across from celebrities like Shah Rukh Khan, Amitabh Bachchan, Priyanka Chopra, Preeti Zinta, you name it, and I've met them all.
You eventually started your company, Immigrant. What did it feel like from going to working with these powerful institutions to having your own table?
While I was working now with the Indian Express, somebody called me from India because they were starting a new restaurant here. And they wanted to do PR for that, and somebody had recommended my name. I don't know how that happened. So I said, this is a great opportunity, because going from journalism to PR is a natural progression. As PR people, we understand what the media is looking for. I had a vast network of media contacts and community contacts. So gave up my job and I started my own company. And I did PR for this restaurant for 6 months, which was promoted not only as a restaurant, but also as a place for artwork. And we also did a fashion show connected to that. It was the first fashion show where a major Indian designer came from India, Anita Lula, who brought the original costumes of Devdas. And we did a fashion show. We had simultaneously promoted art, fashion, and food to promote that.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Image Builders was really taking off as a company which you established.
Yeah, yes, we did a huge amount of work itself. We did a lot of films. We promoted the film with Imran Hashmi called Tigers at the Toronto International Film Festival. We promoted Saroj Khan, the choreographer, Javed Jaffrey, and many other celebrities who came from India who were looking to be promoted in Canada. And it was a huge accomplishment, I felt.
You've been awarded the Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Award, the Women's Heroes Award, and international nominations. So I'm sure there's a lot of invisible hours of work that has gone into making that happen. So what were those invisible hours like?
They were hard, a lot of hard work. It was, as I mentioned, we were doing quite a lot of contracts, and to the ability to be able to handle all of those at the same time, multitasking. But I guess the hard work paid off, because we got recognition for that, and I got all these awards, and I'm really honored to receive that.
You've mentored new immigrants in the Peel region, and that's a very honorable work that you did. So, what is the one piece of advice that you would give a new immigrant that you wish somebody had given you?
I feel the best advice would be that don't be afraid to give before you ask. Volunteer your time, build uh, uh, build your credibility by volunteering, so that when that one opportunity comes on, they will think of you and give you that job. So volunteering is very important for the community.
The immigrant experience generally means holding two worlds, one where you came from and one where you built your life, the world where you built your life. So, how do you hold both worlds?
I think I'll tell you a story there. When we applied for immigration in India, the immigration officer told us that we are not looking at you because you will always be Indian, but your kids are going to be Canadian. Now it's given me a lot. It's where my kids are. They grew up here, and this is where I live. And I think Canada has given me opportunities that no other country would ever give me.
So, if a young woman lands in Canada from India or from anywhere in the world with talent and drive, but absolutely no connections, what would be your advice to her as to how she should maneuver her way in Canada?
I would say build your networks, because that is the single most important thing in Canada. It is that connection that will help you get that first job. Ask for information in interviews. Even senior executives are willing to give you an information interview where they spend 15 minutes with you, and they'll tell you how to get into the workforce. And they'll remember you when that first job uh, will come along for you. And I will also advise that when you get your first job, do not forget the others who are still struggling. You must help those as you have been helped.
Renu Mehta, you are proof that immigrant stories are not just about survival, it's about creativity, consistency, and contribution. And it's about changing the landscape of the world or the path that you've walked into. Thank you for being here. And thank you for being part of Immigrant Diaries.
Thank you for having me on your show.